welcome to the Gawler History Team's September meeting. With COVID restrictions, we have around 40 people here tonight, socially distanced, and Paul Webb is our COVID marshal. When planning for guest speakers, I always thought that we should hear the history of Ames Hardware. It was located in Murray Street next to the Kingsford Hotel, where the TAB is now. And then they shifted a bit further north, a couple of doors. So, before the likes of Bunnings and Stratco, etc., Ames Hardware was very special to me in the early 60s. What they had in the store was amazing. Nothing was too difficult for them. If you went in and asked for a silk purse for a sow's ear, or a wing wong for a goose's bridle, the staff member would nod and say, yes, but what colour? I jest, but hopefully you get the drift. It is a pleasure to welcome Ed Manning to hear his address on the history of Ames Hardware. Please give him a big welcome.
Yes, thanks, Brian. I better not read that lot. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight, ex-employees and friends, and some I know and some I don't know. I've been around Gawler for 50 odd years, but it has changed. First of all, I'd like to thank my wife for what she has done for getting this together. Just about has been a few divorces over the weeks, but we got there. Right. History of Ames Hardware. This is a photograph of early Murray Street, Gawler, South Australia. The now Kingsford Hotel is shown on the left at 34 and 36, which is where the business of Ames Hardware traded. The clock tower, old post office, is shown opposite. In the 1890s, the site of 3436 Murray Street was occupied by F. Fowler, cabinet maker and undertaker. Good combination. In the 1930s to early 1940s, it was a drapery store run by A.D. Jordan and Son. Also, at some stage, a butcher shop and a sweet store. That's a bit of a combination too. We believe a brine tank may remain there today under the TAB. Gordon Ames opened up business in the early 1950s. He had previously worked for William Dawkins & Co., who I believe were, now I've got to think again now, yes, behind where the lights are in Murray Street, opposite Lindop Road, down behind there. In early 1960, Gordon Ames bought stock from Growers, which was a leather and saddlery store, which was in Murray Street next to the Prince Albert Hotel. When they were closing down, that stock included an assortment of cut leather washers, which was left over from pump washers, if anybody can remember what a pump washer looked like. They were kept in a tea chest at Ames Hardware, and customers could pick out what they wanted. I've still got some home in the shed. So if you want some little washers about that size, or that size, not a problem. Gordon, Lionel Ames, Gordon's brother, and Edward Manning, myself, who joined from leaving school in February 1959, were the employees. I would do deliveries in a Chrysler Wayfair ute. Students would come in after school and on Saturday mornings for part-time work. Brian Cornelius, who many would remember as a woodwork teacher at Gawler High, worked on Saturday mornings. The uniform was a grey dust coat. The store looked disorganised, but those who worked there knew where things were kept. It was an experience to watch Saturday morning trade. It was very busy. Closing time was 11:30, and I mean 11:30 on Saturdays, and opening time at 9 a.m. on Mondays. Years ago we would knock off on Saturday mornings and we would shut the back gate, such as it was, and go home for the weekend. Sometimes there would be £10,000 worth of goods and materials left outside. Quite often when we opened up on Monday morning, there would be a note stuck under the door from people, e.g. plumbers, etc., who had come in over the weekend, helped themselves and put a note under the back door with the items they had taken, and they said to put it on their account. Try doing that today. Now look at it. We need a 2-metre high cyclone fence, and we are lucky if it doesn't still allow goods to be stolen. People included tradespeople who were very loyal to the store. We would help them out, sometimes after hours or an early morning start. There were some customer characters. Not sure how it would go now, but one lady who would double rank in Murray Street, walk in to be served, and we would say, well, can you shift your car? No, they can wait. Another gentleman, wanting goods loaded into his car boot, had a dead sheep, along with a very strong smell. I can just about still smell it. One gentleman who used to live over Gawler South would ride his bike, which was probably about 30 years old, into Murray Street, come into the store, and this was just when you used to have to wear a helmet to ride a bike. So he did. He had a 4-litre ice cream thing with 2 pieces of string. He was right. But I think probably the best one that I've ever seen, there was a couple that used to come from over 2 Wells Way in a little Mini, mother and son, and they used to wear their crash helmets in the car. I think Trevor knows who I mean. Yeah. Little things like that I've heard. When I was playing golf this afternoon, I thought of something else and I've forgotten it. Goods that will be unable to be sold today are mineral terps, kerosene and metho that will be put into the customer's own containers. Coal tar was sold out of a 44-gallon drum. If the weather was warm, it would run freely. Blacksmith's coal was sold for anyone who had a forge. Scythe handles and blades. Horseshoes in different sizes for ponies and draft horses with the appropriate horse nails. Also saddles that were made locally. They were made by Keith Hartwig. He used to live out at Williston.
Yep.
He might, I don't know whether he's still alive or whether he's not.
No, he passed away.
Thanks, Keith. Other items stocked were cultivator shears, baling twine, fence wire, barbed wire, and one common thing that we used to have was a cabinet scraper used for carpentry. Harry?
Yeah, I've still got some.
Oh, good. Delivery of stock for the store was unloaded by hand including cement, 10 tonne at a time.
Oh,
Not 10 tonnes, you know, per bag. Piping, fencing materials, fertiliser, James Hardie products, etc. The famous fig tree in the backyard, which has possibly a few offspring in Gawler, as requests were made for cuttings. They always said that fig tree was the best that they'd ever seen. Used to make a bloody mess, I know that much. Bookkeeping was very different. All sales were recorded in the day book before being handwritten to an account. Office employees in the early years were Mrs. Parham, Mrs. Sneesby and Bev Manning. The store ran independently until March 1971, when the store took on the Homestead franchise, which was run through Colton, Palmer and Preston in Adelaide. Gordon Ames retired in 1972 and the business was purchased by the partnership of his brother Lionel, myself and Kevin Howard, when the trading name of Ames Hardware Proprietary Limited was established on the 1st of July 1972.
God, 50 years ago.
Lionel retired in 1974 and sold his share to the other partners of Kevin and Kath Howard and Edward and Beverly Manning. A little note here, we had one important rule. If you found something in one place, that's where it was to return to. If you shifted it, we would not find it. One of Kevin's first jobs, he was going to tidy up the screws and he rearranged them and got into trouble. We couldn't find them. Ordering the stock for specials for promotions, e.g. Easter and Christmas, was done on an order form and sent in by post. We traded in an old-fashioned style. Everything was physically handled by the staff. There was stock jammed in everywhere and a ladder in every room, as the store had been a home, plus a few lean-to sheds. The first plan was to rebuild the premises. In June 1980, number 48 Murray Street and the adjoining yard became available for leasing. After discussions, it was decided to move there while the site at 3436 Murray Street was being rebuilt. Business increased rapidly, and by the time the new building was complete, it was impossible to put everything back in one building. So we decided to split the operation. We created a trade-like centre and a general hardware. 48 Murray Street was previously occupied by the former John Doran Motors showroom, and before that, Cortonware and Starling. The new store was built by Gawler Carpenters and Joiners. Thanks, Harry. Which took 2.5 years to complete. Is that right? It's too long ago to remember, isn't it?
You jest, Edward.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be talking to each other if we'd taken that long.
I think it did between us shifting out and shifting back in. The moving of stock from 34 to 36 to 48 Murray Street was a major planning and moving operations, as was moving back to the new store. Thank goodness to a few of the trolley carts that Coles, Drake's, Woolworths. I think we had probably about 20 of them. They used to end up down on the river, so we'd pull them out and that was it. They come in very handy though. Also for moving stock around the store. All staff members and family helping out over a few weekends. Staff was amazing with the assistance they gave and working under difficult conditions. In 1985 we moved back to the new store under the Homestead banner and operated in 2 stores. New products we were able to stock at 48 included chainsaws, repairs and sharpening, CIG gas agencies, gyprock sheeting, concrete mesh, reinforcing rods, screen doors and internal doors, outdoor settings, household wood heaters, lawn mowers and ride-on mowers. I think we must have been jack of all trades. Also a range of plumbing fittings and bathroom and toilet laundry accessories, plus a range of timber. In 1993 the business changed banners to become Home Hardware under the John Danks and Sons Group. The grand opening under the new banner was on Saturday the 27th of November. It was opened by the Mayor of Gawler, Dr. Bruce Easting. Welcome, Bruce. Home mascots Rusty and Sandy, the dogs, were in attendance. The dogs would come to the Christmas fair when it was held in Murray Street. Remember that, Jane?
Yep.
Also present at the opening was Al Borland, the tall man's assistant, as part of the Black & Decker promotion, which attracted fans from the Home Improvement TV show. Over the years, the paint companies had promotions. Tormans Paints was Carter Edwards, singing I Did It My Way, and I'll always remember that. British Paints had Rolf Harris doing his paintings with a 6-inch brush. If he was around today, I might get him to do our house. He didn't take that long to do it. And Warpamure had Wally the Monkey, or we used to call him, he was Wally Warpamure. And not very long ago, I met up with him at Berry.
Still going.
As I mentioned before, Sandy and Rusty for Home Hardware, and Dolly the Giraffe, I cannot remember that one, for a radio station. But we've got a photo though, he must have been there. Over the years, Ames Hardware supported many football, tennis, golf and other groups. Local business people had a derby night at Gawler Paceway, which the staff attended. Myself and Kevin were both presidents of the Gawler Lions Club. In 1995, Ames Hardware won the award for the large retail section from the Gawler Rotary Club in Quality of Service Awards to Citizens. Ian Sanders was president of Rotary in 1995. In later years, we did have burglaries. The call would come, and Kevin would come from Everston, and I would come from Gawler East to meet police. No entry was allowed until the police arrived. But in later years, you were on your own. How things have changed. The hotel proprietor, Doug Lyons, the Kingswood Hotel, foiled a few robberies when he heard a noise at the back of the shop in Juliet Terrace, and in one case discovered wheelbarrows being thrown over the back fence. I think you can remember that, Graham. The last one before we closed was the front glass panel broken and a chainsaw stolen, even though it was chained to a fixture. Broom and axe handles were kept in a tub by the back door. Not sure what help that would be. We had to wait until morning for the replacement glass company to arrive. Kevin was away at the time, so the Manning family had to take turns all night, so nobody had robbed the place. Again, the taser was found next morning at the back of the BP service station in a bag with a change of jumper, ready to be picked up, police assumed at the later date. Another robbery was when brush cutters and a chainsaw were found by the police on the side of the road at Elizabeth unharmed. It was bloody marvellous that was, that they just took the lot and they were chained up as well. Funny things had happened. A customer came and priced goods with our store but decided to purchase elsewhere because it was a bit cheaper, but the store was going to charge a huge delivery fee. So could he please borrow our truck to collect his goods? I remember that quite. The common happening was a junior starting a job to be sent to the shop to purchase a hammer to knock the dents out of glass, which we sold them the hammer, we charged them for it and put on the docket non-refundable, sorry. This prank did not work. I won't say where it was from. I probably told you to say yes, he'd do that sort of thing. In 1998, the decision was made to shrink the business into one store, and number 48 was auctioned and sold to Mannix Air Conditioning. It was later occupied by the Gawler Fishing and Outdoor, and is currently occupied by Vinnie's Op Shop. On Saturday, the 8th of August 1998, the gate was closed on the partnership. The business was sold and opened under a new management on Monday morning, Stratco. The property at 3436 Murray Street was then sold to the Kingswood Hotel proprietors and is now the home of a TAB, sports bar and pokies. Now this history was compiled by myself and my wife to the best of our memory. It took a bloody lot, I tell you. Our time spent there. Unfortunately, Kevin and Kath Howard were unable to be with us tonight. Jane is here, representing them, I presume. So that is all I've got on that. There is a few photos here. No, just keep going. You remember that one, Trevor?
Yes. Yep.
This was taken up at our place when we had a tennis court there. Dion, you look a bit younger than that.
Any comments from the staff at this point in time? Clean ones.
Remember that one? Cyril Casual. Always had to have he always told a joke when he came in. There's a few that geez, I look bloody young and then I've got hair.
Ed.
Oh, you want me over? Oh, sorry.
Who's there?
That was the opening day.
It was neat there, wasn't it?
That's what I mean by shed. Ah, there it is.
There it is.
The Great Lou. Look, we nearly lost that. We had a load of cement from Angerson came down and he had a truck and a trailer on behind. Anyway, he's trying to get it, because you had to go sort of around a bit to get up to the back door to unload the cement. Anyway, he had the trailer on behind and he's going back and it hit the toilet. It went at least a foot like that and come back. We saved it. I don't think it's passed inspection these days.
You got a bit of stuff there.
There's a bloody lot of stuff being there. That one's a 48. No, it's not. 34, 36, yeah. It's a little difficult to get that inside the store. Oh, there's the brine tank.
Brian, that would be clear if you turn some lights off.
I hear what you're saying.
Did you cover it, Harry?
I beg your pardon?
Did you cover that brine tank or did you fill it in?
Covered, if I remember rightly.
Oh,
Had to take it in turns.
if you stand close to him and thank him, but behind the curtain is the button. You can just see it. And thank you, Father. I'd forgotten all about it until the last. Okay.
Little long haired git.
Who's that? 5AD. Well, there you go. Right.
You can look young there. Oh,
June 19.
that's 40 years ago.
Are there many others?
Geez, I'll be having nightmares tonight after looking at this.
How did you find stuff?
Stock take was good, Ed.
Stock taking. How long is stock taking?
Was it ever?
I could tell you a little story about stock taking.
Yes, please.
When I first started there, there was Lionel and myself and Gordon and Brian Cornelius. That was the four we used to do it over a weekend. So they would start in the main shop, Gordon and Brian, and Lionel and I would do the rest of the shop. So this is alright. So we're probably about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, how they were going. And here they were, had a couple of beers behind the bloody counter and they were virtually asleep. We didn't offer the next time.
Anne Richards is now going to give a vote of thanks. Thank you, Anne, for volunteering.
And thank you for a very entertaining and informative talk tonight, and thanks to Mrs. Ed as well for doing the typing. I'd like to present you with a gift basket, which apparently is here.
Right. Leave it there. Leave it there.
Leave it there.
Yeah, leave it there.
Lots of goodies in there from She's Apples. Hope you enjoy it.
Father's Day's coming up, isn't it?
It is.
Should have kept it, shouldn't we? Thank you again.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well done, Ed.